Hi, I'm Dr. Gaby Cora, and welcome to my show, Dr. Gaby's Take, Make Life Interesting. Hi, welcome to Season 1, Episode 4, Passion into Action. If we look at the current unemployment rates for our newly graduates, 2010 has brought those numbers to a 9.1%. Now, kids or young adults who have not been to college have higher unemployment rates. Now, the interesting thing is for those kids who have been in college, 2/3 of them are in debt. So whether or not they find a job will make it a very important factor as to not only pay off their debt, but also to be able to support themselves. How can we create or change or shift this passion into action with everything that the kids that are young adults or that our young population has learned into a practical way of making that matter? There's 3 elements that I find to be very interesting and very important to be able to convert this passion into action. The first one is knowledge. What school has traditionally given us is a foundation to be able to have a direct source of information in a structured way. The other great thing that school has done for us is to provide a way in which we can search for that information. Some people who may not have known how to do that have the opportunity to learn how to do that now. That becomes very important. However, one of the advances of technology these days, particularly with the internet, allows us to be able to search for that source of information on our own. So we have a mix of kids maybe going to college and learning all these skills, but information is going so fast. We're learning so many new things on a daily basis that we have to keep that information updated, and that's where internet sources become very relevant. Now, except if we're in an industry, like for example in my case where I first learned to be a physician, and where it was very important to be able to comply to regulatory requirements and to licensure needs. Other than that, there are many other professions that do not have those requirements. And that's where it's getting a little tricky about whether young adults should or shouldn't seek more education, particularly given the situation of what we're facing these days. The second point that is very prevalent, particularly in the United States in comparison with some other countries, particularly, for example, in Europe, is experience. Our country has been wonderful in terms of allowing people to really live their American dream out of seeking their own experience and building their own companies or businesses. So it's very important for us, whether or not we do have a degree, to get more and more of that experience so that we can implement all the lessons learned. Now, because nothing beats our own experience, it's going to be very important for us to try to figure out how we can gain some more experience. So for example, in my case, as a physician, it was very important to be able to have different experiences with very severely ill patients to other patients who were doing extremely well. That served me well. It also served me well in the business world to have been able to work not only within the federal government or a state government, but also in the nonprofit industry or having worked for corporate America. That was tremendous experience for me as well. Now, sometimes we learn from internships or paid apprenticeships, and some other times we have the opportunity to go on a field day or a way in which we can learn some more so that we can implement hands-on. The third point that I want to make is intuition. Intuition is what allows us to know ourselves better, know what our true passion is, know about the things that we truly care about, know what our skills are and the things that we need to learn some more so that we can complement what we already have. So it's very important to try to figure out how can we combine that knowledge with experience and with a touch of intuition. This is the way that I realized that you can transfer that passion into action, putting it all together. And now I'd love to invite you to enjoy the show, where we're going to see a lot more about how we can combine knowledge, experience with a touch of intuition in starting something new. Our episode today is Passion into Action. Let me introduce you to Jason Liebross, an unemployed newly grad who became a social entrepreneur. Join me in this interview and hope you'll enjoy. Hi, I'm Dr. Gaby Cora, and I'm here with Jason Liebross and Lee Nydorf. How are you today?
Doing good. How are you?
Good. Well, I'm very excited about this interview because we really want to tell the world a bit of what's been going on behind the scenes for sportspages.com.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit, how was this idea, how did it get started?
Well, to be honest, I was leaving college and I was looking for jobs in marketing, which is where my degree is in, and it's not the ideal time to be looking for jobs right now. So I spent a lot of time also, browsing through Twitter and Facebook and things like that, killing time while I'm supposed to be looking for jobs. And one day I'm looking through my Twitter feed, which I use specifically for sports, and I noticed that it's basically a sports news aggregator in itself. I choose a writer, and when he has something to say, I see it. When he writes an article, he tweets it, and I get to view it. So I thought to myself, what if everybody had something like this? Then we wouldn't have to go, say, for Miami teams, they wouldn't have to go to the Palm Beach Post and the Sun Sentinel and the Miami Herald to read articles, because everything would filter to one place. And we'll go out and we could find all the Twitter writers for all the teams and the players that are on Twitter and filter it all into one spot, so people don't have to be going all over in Twitter and Facebook and the newspaper sites and ESPN and all those places to get their sports news, when they could just go to one site and get everything right there.
So I want to know how this idea came to you. Did it just get started when you realized, wow, this is an aggregated feed?
It was almost like an epiphany. I mean, one day I'm staring at the screen. It actually happened in the car. I was leaving Orlando. I was up there visiting, and I was coming back, and I had just closed my computer, gotten in the car, and I was on Twitter reading about sports, and the idea hit me. What if everybody had something like this? Then they wouldn't have to go all over the place, and we could do it. And now is the perfect time with the economy the way it is to go forward on an idea that you think is good and pursue it. So what I did was I thought about it more on my way home, and as I started to realize that it didn't exist anywhere else where you could do something like this, I decided that now's the time. I have to try and pursue it.
A 3-hour drive back home, you kind of put it together, at least as an idea. What happened next?
Well, I got back and I presented the idea to a few people just to kind of see if they thought, because every time you get a new idea, you tell people about it, and the first thing they love to tell you is what's wrong, though this won't work and that won't work. But I started to tell a few people, and everyone started to have the same reaction. Wow, that's a really good idea. You should do that. So my friend Lee works in the web development industry, and so I decided I would go and contact him and see if he could help me put this idea from an idea into reality. And that's what I did. So
Lee, Jason comes to you and says,
he's basically like, Lee, I have a great idea. And I was like, all right, so, let me hear what you have to say. So he tells me the idea, and, after a few weeks of discussing it, documenting it, mapping it out, we came up with, a great sports news website.
Let's go before then. He tells you about the idea. What was your first impression?
The first thing I thought, I was like, I always have people come to me and they're like, Lee, I have the best idea. I want you to be a partner, so forth and so on. So I hear this all the time. So I never really pursued it because I hear it on a regular basis. And sports news, which is the main industry that we're targeting, I didn't know much about. I don't really follow sports as much as Jason and every other sports fan. So I started doing a little research. I'm like, wow, this is a huge industry. I'm like, there's millions upon millions of people. And the biggest thing was that it was international. Not only could we do it in the United States, we could expand across the whole world.
So the first idea when you were thinking about, for example, some local newspapers, all of a sudden became bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
Right, yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm from New York originally, so I all the teams that I follow are up there. So when I'm down, I moved to Florida, and so everything that I want to find, I have to go and look for because it's not here. We don't get the New York newspapers unless I specially order them, and we don't get other things we don't get the channels on TV that they get up there. So what I have to do is find other ways to do it through Twitter and through the internet, and so that's basically how we got the idea to put everything together. And then once we realized that it didn't exist anywhere else, there was no holding us back from doing it.
So Lee, tell us a little bit about how you did some of that groundwork to figure out if there was something like this already and
All right, well, the first thing we did was, we started using Google and we searched throughout, some of the main news sites such as, ESPN, Yahoo, and so forth and so on. And we were like, okay, we like this feature here. We like this over here. We took some ideas from the other existing sites and we basically evolved it into, a bigger, better idea. And we started diagramming it out by hand on paper. We're like, here's the home page, here's the city page, here's the team page, and we literally documented it on a board on paper and drew it out. And then he had to spend hours upon hours finding all the beat writers, all the RSS feeds,
research,
all the Twitter feeds.
We had to research every city that has a major sports team, and we had to find their local radio stations, their local newspaper writers, the newspapers themselves. I mean, any local source that we found we decided would be valuable, we put it in. And we determined value by the size of publications and the amount of followers or fans they had on social networking. And that's how we included some blogs as well as just straight publications, because those, other than just news publications, people like to read other opinions. So we wanted to include that. And in throwing ideas together, we realized how much users like to partake in that. And then we realized that if we can build this on a social media platform, then we really have something different.
So did the idea for the social media platform come from the very beginning, or did it come a little later on when you realized that?
Shortly after. The very first idea was to aggregate all news, and then I think it was actually his idea to create a page where people can choose which teams they want to feed to a specific area. So if you're like me and you live in Florida and all of your favorite teams are in New York, or you like some teams in Florida and some teams in New York and some teams other places, you can build a page for yourself that filters all of the news into that one spot. So you have your own custom homepage of sports built for yourself, and you can add friends to it so you can see them too. I mean, it's just, we consider it kind of like a sports news community. It's just one area where everybody gets together and sees everything they want.
Lee, when were you sold on the idea?
I'd say, I told you I've heard many ideas. I'd say within, 5 to 7 days of discussing, and doing a little bit of research, I thought it was an amazing idea. And, 8 months later, 10 months later, we're here today, and I'm more than happy than, pursuing that project. And it's our heart, everything is into it.
And I also know that you've known one another for a long time.
Yes.
So since when was that?
Well, I moved here when I was about 10 years old, and I'm 25 now. And I met him about the first year that I lived here.
We played roller hockey as well.
Yeah, we used to play sports together, street hockey. We fell into the same group of friends, and ever since, for the past 15 years or so, we've known each other.
So, and Jason, how did it come to you to approach Lee about the project? Why Lee and not someone else?
Well, I know that Lee is into the web industry, and I know that he is good because I've seen some things that he's done in the past, and so and as a friend of mine, I knew that I could trust him to not go to bring in this idea and then go and leak it to the whole world and then have someone beat us to it. So I knew that by going to a friend, I can trust it to stay within a small circle until we were ready to get it out. And so I thought he was the perfect person.
Had you ever worked together before?
Not on a business project, no.
And how has it been to work as a
It's been fun. It's been an experience. You get to know what the other person's strengths are and what the other person's weaknesses are. But we found that where one person lacks, the other person has the strength to pick it up. So where I may not have the proper lingo down for all the tech stuff that we do, he knows how to translate that stuff. And maybe for writing and research, I that's where I come and specialize. And we both come from a marketing and finance background, so we can, we felt like we had the abilities right in-house to get the word out.
You have some shared strengths, but at the same time you have individual strengths, and you know how to feed into each one. How much time are you spending on this project?
It's been countless amount of time. I mean, it's been about a year now since we started building the site. Since I first approached him, it's been about a year. At first, we would spend 3-4 hours on the phone with programmers trying to hammer out the details and the functionality and the cost and things like that. And then as they started to work on it, we started to spend our focus on research and acquiring all the writers and the players to put into it. And it took definitely several hours a day, 5-6 hours of nonstop working on that a day, and oftentimes late into the night for us, because oftentimes we outsource our work to other countries, so we have to make ourselves available at different hours to make sure that everything gets done the way that it needs to get done. You
do tons of work here, and at the same time you outsource part of the work. How did that come to you too, in terms of how to get this going?
Well, once again, he has been in the web design industry for about 5 years, and so during that time he was able to develop connections all over the world with different people, and trial and error and different ways to find the best people and get ones that he trusted. And so he, when I brought the idea to him, he said, I have a team of people that I trust, that I know can get the job done, and for other things, entering data, things like that, I have another team of people that I know we can trust and get the job done and give us quality work in good time. So I trusted that he would, that he had the proper connection. We met with the guy, and everything took off from there.
So when you're building your company and you're bringing in people that you really trust, and you're not only thinking about people that you've trusted for about 1 or 2 years, but people that you've trusted for a long time. 15 years is a long time. Mm-hmm. So tell me how you came up with the idea of bringing your video guy friend.
Well, we are fortunate to have amongst our group of friends a talented video man named Or Bortman, and he has done lots of videos in the past that I've seen, and so I thought he was absolutely the guy to approach about this, because I knew that if we sat down and talked to him, he would be able to give us some good ideas, set us in the right direction, and ultimately get together and put together a video that we could be proud of. And I knew that in the same situation with Lee, I can keep everything in-house because he was a friend that I've known for a long time. Over 5-6 years I've known Or, and we felt very comfortable working with him.
So tell me about the video concept. What was that about?
Well, the concept of the video was, where have all the sports fans gone? And what we did was we shot a 5-part series themed around different sports, and the way it worked is it would show empty stands with crowd noise in the background, and so you'd have a game going on but nobody attending it, and it would end with, where have all the sports fans gone? And we shot one for football, and we shot one for basketball, and we shot one with hockey, and then at the end we put it all together. We actually had fans in the last video to kind of bring everything back in, and we put our name out there. We never put our name in any of the first 4 videos until the last one. The last one we finally put our name in, so people knew, where have all the sports fans gone? Check out sportspages.com, and then maybe you'll see.
How are you forming the rest of your team? Like, do you have other people that have also helped you out?
Well, we do, the majority of the work is done by me and Lee, but we have staff blogs on our site, because we pull a lot of content from different publications, so we wanted to have some of our own as well. So we developed 6 staff blogs, one about all the sports. We also have a tailgate recipe blog, and a blog from the older sports fan's perspective called The Grumpy Old Sports Fan, where he kind of rants about how today's sports news comes in technology form and this and that, and whatever happened to the old days where you get your news in the newspaper, and the nuances in sports that go on that just aren't the same anymore. But the people who write that are also people that we know, that we've grown up with, close friends.
So you have some staff writers, and can anyone write blogs also on?
Yeah, we developed the user platform because we realized that everybody has an opinion, and everybody wants their opinion to be voiced. Now you can go and you can set up your own blog site, and you can write a blog, and you can Facebook it or tweet it or tell your friends, go read my blog, and they could. Or we set up a feature where you can write a blog and submit it under any team or any league, and we will bring it up on our page to that team based on how many views it has. So you can have your blog seen by a bunch of people who never would have seen your blog had you just set up your own blog website. But because you did it with us and filed it under a specific team, if you want to write about the Miami Heat because basketball's coming back and you're excited, then you can do it, and all of the Miami Heat fans that are on sports pages are going to read it, and maybe they're going to say, you're a really good writer, I want to follow you, and they can add you to their stream and read more things that you write. And you never know who's going to stumble upon your articles.
Many people struggle with getting started, and all of this costs some money. How did you come up with the idea of how much money you would need to get this started, and how did you put that financial team together?
Well, what we had to do was we had to sit down with some programmers and kind of figure out, if this is something we want to build, how much is it going to cost, and what's going to be involved, and how long of a process it's going to take. And so after we basically got a sense of what it's going to cost, we basically, me and Lee decided that this idea was good, it was original, it was something that we want to pursue, and so the two of us, we went into our own pockets and we financed all of them.
Mm-hmm. And that's not easy to do, but it was such a great idea that you were like, well, I'm willing to bring my money in it. And
absolutely, we don't regret doing it at all. And I approached Lee and I said, and I asked him, are you willing to invest in this idea? And he did not hesitate.
What do you think is going to happen next with the site? Like, what do you envision around the site?
Well, what we would like to have happen is we would love to have people kind of use that as their, people who use Twitter like I do, where they make their sports central, to kind of, instead of using so much of Twitter, kind of get all that stuff on our side so that they don't have to see, they don't have to know who to look for because it's already there. And, once they're doing that, we want people to realize that you have this social media platform here also. So not only can you talk, broadcast yourself and read about sports and hear about sports on local radio, but you can also meet other people and connect with other sports fans and get your opinion out to people who never would have heard it before. And because of those things, we want people to realize that, you can create an account, build your own personal area, and meet all these different sports fans. And you can talk to your friends and message people. We have direct messaging on our site and everything. So, you can do all your social media through a sports platform. So if you are a big sports fan and you use social media mostly for sports, or just even partially for sports, you can skip that whole section of finding people and following people and just use your social media for being social with your friends and get all your sports at sportspages.com.
Are all sports fans eligible for your site?
Absolutely. It's completely free to sign up. Anybody can register. Anybody can write a blog. We have live chats for all teams, so you can log on to a team page and start talking with other sports fans immediately about any team. So
let's say that I have not registered yet, and I want to know I'm attracted to the site. What can I get from the site?
You can get live news, real-time news feeds from all of the publications on any team or city that you choose to look at. You can get real-time Twitter feeds from the writers and the players of those teams. You can read the blogs that our fans are writing. You just can't comment on them. And you can also partake in our live chat on any team page. You just create a name for yourself in the chat forum, and then go ahead and start talking to other sports fans right away. And you can also participate in our Twitter, where we pull anybody who does our hashtag code. So
if I register, what are the advantages of registering beyond
we call them the 3 C's. When you register, you get to customize your own page, you can comment on others, and you can contribute your own content. So those 3 things are the big things that you can do. And really being able to build your own page is the selling point for registration, because not only do you get to use the features of our website, but you get only the teams that you want. If you like Miami, but you only like 1 team in Miami or 2 teams from Miami, you don't have to sift through the news from the other teams. You can just get the ones that you want, and then if you want like teams from other places, you can add them. This is what our homepage looks like. We have a Twitter feed right on the homepage from us, so we can kind of direct users as to what's hot, what's happening right now, so they can go check it out. But what we have up top is just a login button right here, and if you click the login button, it takes you to our register page, which is just very simple. You select a username for yourself, which will be your tag name on the site to be what people know you by. You put in your email, you create a password and a location, and that's it. And then once you press our register button, your account is created, and it will log you in. And I will put in my account just to kind of show you what the inside looks like as soon as you log in. So the reason why we have those slots to fill out in the beginning, you put in your name, you put in your email, you put in your password and other things, and what happens is it builds a sports card for you. So every person has their own sports card basically when you sign up for sports pages, and you can upload an image. So the front side, it's going to have an image of you, and on the back side they'll have information about you, your name, your age, sex, your location, as well as the teams that you like to follow on your own sports page, which you can build for yourself. So, anything that anybody wants to know about you, they can find by just looking at your sports card, which is what shows up when you click on any user on our site. We have a customized feature on our site, which allows you to either choose teams or a specific city. If you decide to do it by city, you just select the city that you're a fan of, and all the teams instantly go to your page. If you want to do it by team, our site holds up to 8 teams. So what you can do is choose between the MLB, NBA, NFL, and NHL. You can choose a total of 8 teams that you like, and we have it in a drop-down format. You just check off the team, and that's it, and and then press customize, and it submits it. And then as soon as you fill that out, we have a My Page feature, which will take you to what you just built. And when the internet's not running slowly, so what happens is all the teams that you choose aggregates their Twitter feed to the page that you built, as well as and we split up our Twitter into players, writers, and fans. We give fans a specific code that they can type in on Twitter. It's a hashtag code, and when they type it in, it shows up on our website. So if you want your tweets to also show up on our website, you can tweet anything, hashtag SP, and then the team name that you want, SP for sports pages, and then you'll show up directly on our website with your tweets. So when you build a page, you have all your Twitter up at the top. You'll have all of the news articles from the teams that you selected. You can scroll through on the left side. Here will be fan blogs written about all the teams that you've chosen. And then in the middle, we just added a news feed for, if you want to add other friends, so you can see what they write. They can anytime they write a blog, it'll show it to you. Anytime they make a comment, it'll show it to you. Basically the same thing as a Facebook news feed. And so that's basically our user interface. We also have the ability to add specific players and writers from individual teams to feed their Twitter and articles to your page too. So you can ultimately have everything that you want in one place. One other feature that we offer is the ability to see which individual writers and players from a team are on Twitter. So if you happen to be using Twitter and you want to follow these people on your Twitter account as well, we have these two tabs, Team Players as well as Team Writers. Now our Team Players tab will list all the players within that team that are on Twitter, as well as information about that player and the most recent tweets from them. So you basically have your own, in this case, Charlotte Bobcats Twitter feed right here. But if you want to add individual players, you'll know who to add on your Twitter feed. Also, if you register, we have an Add to Favorites button here, so you can add these individuals to the sports page that you created yourself.
So you've really integrated.
Really just a one hub for everything, all that you can need. And it's the same for the writers. But our writers come with a news feed as well, so you get the most recent articles from that person and the most recent Twitter feed, and you can add them to favorites as well to go straight to your news feed. If you have a writer that you really like and he doesn't write for a team that you follow, you can still have him.
So for example, what can the general public see so far on that homepage?
Well, let me show you. What can happen with our site is if you don't register for sports pages, you still do have access to the pages we set up. We set up pages on a team-by-team and a city-by-city basis. So let's say you are a fan of Miami, and you wanted to go to our Miami page. Now, if you went to the Miami page here and you are not a registered user, you can read the user blogs, you can read the articles here. But what this is a jumble of articles from the Panthers, the Dolphins, the Heat, and the Marlins, all the teams in Miami. Now, let's say that you specifically don't really have much interest in two of those teams, but you do like two of the others, and so you don't want to sift through these articles here to find exactly which ones are the ones that pertain to the teams that you want, but you still do like this platform of combining everything together. That's why you'd need to make your own personal sports page, because when you register for our site, it gives you the ability to filter between different teams and choose only the ones that you want to see on your own page. So you don't have to sift through the articles of the teams that you don't care about to find the ones that you do, and you don't have to click team page to get it. You can still have that filtration into one spot, but set it up on a platform where only you care about, So you can have it, everything that you want in one place, filtered out so that the teams that you don't want aren't there, the teams that you do want are there, and you can comment on anything throughout the website. And
so you can filter, you can comment, you can respond. Otherwise, you can't respond.
No, you can't respond. If I'm on the Miami page and I see someone wrote an article here about the Dolphins winning 2 games in a row. Now, if I go to that, I'm not going to be able to comment on it unless I'm logged in and a member. And even though I may want to say something because this person said something that just gets me so riled up.
Sports fan.
Yeah, exactly. I won't be able to do it unless I go ahead and I register for sports pages.
And registration is free.
Registration is free. Registration is simple. It takes you 30 seconds and you're a member of sports pages, and you can have full access to doing pretty much anything that a sports fan would want to do on a sports website.
So how should people register?
Well, if you want to register, all you need to do is go to www.sportspages.com. Sports Pages is spelled with a Z at the end, not an S. And you just simply click the login button, fill out the 4 lines, and you will instantly be a member of sportspages.com. And that will give you the ability to filter through any team, comment on any article, and contribute anytime you'd like.
Well, Jason and Lee, it was great having you here today, and have a blast.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for watching my show, and I hope you enjoyed Jason Liebross' interview as much as I did. Now let's try to think about 3 things that can help us make life more interesting. We talked about 3 things today: knowledge, experience, and a touch of intuition. Search for your own knowledge in whatever it is that you're doing today, particularly if it is completely aligned with where you want to be in 10 or 20 years from now. So the first part is you're fond of knowledge where it should be. Now, if you feel that you need to learn some more, what are the things that you can do so that you can seek more knowledge? Do you need to go back to school, or are there some things that you can learn on your own? That would be the first point. Think about this and try to figure out how you can apply these lessons learned to yourself. The second point is experience. Do you feel that you have enough experience? And even if you feel that you do, try to think ahead, 10 years, 20 years. Are you going to be competitive as compared to other people who may be doing exactly the same thing that you're doing? And what are the things that you can do to stay one step ahead of your competitors? Particularly, again, you're looking at the future. You're not just looking at now. If you feel that you could benefit from having additional experience, how would you go around that? Would you try to look for a field day with someone you know? Would you like to try to collaborate with some other people who are doing some things that are complementary to you? Be open to some of those experiences. The third part is intuition. Are you aligned exactly with who it is that you are, with what you're doing? And is this compatible with who you want to be in 10 or 20 years? This is going to be a very, very important factor, because the more and the better that you know yourself, the easier that it is going to be for you to bring together your knowledge with your experience and a touch of intuition. I hope you enjoyed the show, the lessons learned, and wishing you a wonderful time in which you can bring your passion into action. Enjoy.